Thanks to our sponsors. Goods and services used in the production of Hanging Out with Dee were brought to you by
Hey guys, this is Dee Harris for Hanging Out with Dee. Today we'll be at Visual Impact and we'll be hanging out with Dave and Bill to find out what they do here. Catch me inside. Hey guys, so we're inside Visual Impact and we have the amazing Dave and Bill, and we're going to find out a little bit more about what they do. All right, so we're here sitting down with the amazing Dave and Bill, and we're going to find out a little bit more about who they are before they go into telling us what they do here at this beautiful place here at Visual Impact. So tell me first, where did you grow up, Dave?
Well, I grew up in Poughkeepsie, New York, and grew up there for 15 years with my two sisters, and went to college in Poughkeepsie as well. Went to a community college, Dutchess Community College, and got a degree in commercial art and illustration.
Interesting. And what about you, Bill?
Well, I also grew up in New York State, over in Mahopac or Mahopac, and one of 5 children, the oldest, and eventually moved over to Connecticut as well.
Interesting. So do you notice how your paths kind of crossed? Both of you from New York and then both of you came to Danbury. Yeah. That's pretty cool. So how did you get into this business?
Well, I mean, originally I got into graphic design and started a graphic design studio, and which ended up really morphing into a full-service ad agency. But in 1988, I took a trip to Hawaii with my wife, and we were looking basically at artwork around the area there, and not to buy it because it was hugely expensive, but we were looking at this one artist, David Lee, and his work was amazing. My wife fell in love with his work, and I didn't think anything of it, but we basically got on their mailing list, and about 10 years later, I got a postcard for a giclée of this man's work. And it was just gorgeous. I figured I might as well try it. And I got the work shipped to me from Hawaii, and when it arrived, it was the most beautiful print I had ever seen. And I said, this is something that I really need to do. I need to learn how to do this. And shortly after that, I bought printmaking equipment and started doing fine art printmaking, really as a division of my ad agency at that time.
That is amazing. And what about you? How did you get into this business?
Well, I came into this business through photography. I was in love with photography at a very early age, before I was a teenager, actually. I had my first little brownie. And my father eventually opened up a camera shop, and I was working there as a teenager when I found out that there was an opening in a photo lab. And I had a dark room in the bathroom at home which was always fun. You had to rearrange the enlarger, during printing time, and then break it down so everybody could take a bath. But when I heard about this opening in a photo lab over in Westchester County, I applied and got the job, and fell into the photo business.
So that's really interesting. You come with your graphic arts background, and you are bringing your photography experience, and that's exactly what Visual Impact is all about. That's pretty cool. So both of you were competitors at one point. What got you to the place where you decided to join forces?
Well, we had shared a space right here in Commerce Park for, what was that, about 5 years, Bill? Yeah, about that. And, we had known each other for 20 years, so we were friends and associates beforehand. But we started doing the same service, it really, got a little awkward because people would come into the office and they would, they would come in for printmaking service, and it was like, is that my client or is that your client? No, it's my client. Because I had the phone call, Yeah. But, and then at some point we just realized that, he wasn't a photo lab anymore. I really wasn't an ad agency anymore. Yeah. And it just made sense for us to join forces. And, we took about a year to formulate visual impact and how we were going to brand the company and, marketing plan of what we were going to be selling. And because we had to change some of the items of what we did because we didn't have photo services anymore. So we, changed that to frame sales.
Yeah, basically we followed the old adage of if you can't beat them, join them. And so and as Dave said, we had been friendly associates for many years, even before we got together. We were clients of Dave's, and Dave was a client of ours in the photo lab business. So it just made sense. Our first endeavor actually was to create an online gallery of selling historic images that benefited some of the historical societies as well. Yes. And we did that for a few years before actually deciding to merge both companies. Mm-hmm. And that worked out very well.
Yes, I have seen your work. Actually, the first time I found out about you guys, that's what I saw.
You saw that? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the rest is history. The toughest thing was coming up with a name, actually.
Yeah? Really?
Yeah, I mean, merging together at that point, since we were both in the same building and we were working on that historical online gallery, that was simpler than coming up with the marketing concepts.
Yeah, and then, we had the two divisions as well, so we wanted to get names that would tie into what the parent company would be. So we formed Visual Impact as the parent company, and then Impact Arts is our fine art printing company, online printing company, and Memory Lane Collection is our historical printing collection.
Very nice. So we have like a 30-second wrap-up. So tell me in a quick nutshell what you do here.
Well, we're a graphic display, fine art printing, and framing company. We service several different markets, but our two largest markets are the reproduction of fine art paintings and fine art photographic printing, as well as commercial displays for commercial communications, trade show displays, corporate communications, and graphic design work.
Yeah, and you have some billboards. I know I have some work that you guys did in the downtown art competition here in Danbury.
Yeah, well, we're very affiliated with a lot of the downtown organization, the Cultural Alliance of Western Connecticut being one of them. And so we like to support the arts generally in the greater Danbury area. There's just such a wealth of creative people in the area. It's amazing.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Okay, guys, we're going to our next segment, Dee's Life Questions. All right, guys, welcome to Dee's Life Questions. And as you know, this is the segment of the show when we talk a little bit about the philosophical or the spiritual or the things that are a little bit deeper in life. So we want to talk about what inspires Dave and Bill. Let's start with Dave.
Well, I think the thing that inspires me mostly about being in a fine art printing business is just, as I mentioned before, just the wealth of talent that's in the area. And as a painter and a photographer myself, that gives me kind of impetus to really want to do more personally with my own fine artwork. And, we deal with artists that are internationally renowned in the area to people that are just, starting out, and that's one of the things that I think makes this company special is that we work with people directly to guide them in what is important for them, which is getting their artwork out to the people, to the public. And, that's important to them, and, therefore it's important to us. And, we coach them through, what's involved in the whole printmaking process. How do I number editions? How many do I do? What sizes do I offer? What kind of papers and substrates do I put that on? So people come in with 1,000 questions that we're here to help support them with. And, that's always rewarding to be able to help somebody from that perspective.
I have a personal testimonial with that. So when I just started out, I had this huge gig, and the location that we had lost light. So then I had a ton of people coming in the middle of the night for a night shoot with no light. That was so scary. And you were really helpful, with a couple of the images that I needed to be fixed. All right, what about you? What inspires you?
Well, as Dave said, we are fine art printmakers, and we really take a lot of pride in producing high quality prints, and not only for our clients, which is the paramount reason that we're here, but we take personal pride in actually producing. It's an art form to us. My inspiration came from, as I was a photographer, came from fine art photographers like Minor White, and Edward Weston, and of course Ansel Adams, and people along that line. But it's evolved well past that. In this day of technology, we can do amazing things that were unthought of several years back. So it's exciting to be part of that. It's also frustrating because it changes every 5 minutes. Yeah. So keeping up with it and choosing the right path is always challenging. But
so both of you are very similar. You're both inspired by what you do.
Sure.
And you know what they say, when you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
So you guys you're not working.
Yeah.
24/7. It's pretty cool that you're inspired by what you do. So what is the secret of the success of your relationship?
Well, I think that I don't know if it's really a secret, but Bill and I have always gotten along well. We both have a great sense of humor together, and we enjoy working together with each other. And
Six sense of humor.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to elaborate.
Clarify that. I know. But and Bill and I have a very open relationship as far as being able to communicate back and forth. So if there's something that doesn't work in the way the business is running, or if there's something that we need to make adjustments, the way the company is run, we sit down and we talk about it. And, we're not, carrying grudges around with us all the time. And I think that, anyone that's out there as a new business owner, to have a communication not only with your partner in business, but your staff is hugely important.
Yes.
I would echo that.
See, that's why you get along so well. All right. So what do you think is a secret of success in general? Because you're both very successful people. You do know this. What do you think is a secret of your success?
Well, I just think that probably just perseverance is the secret of the success of this company. Bill and I have gone through a lot of challenges in our business career, and part of what we do here is we create art. And in business, I think you have to create your business ongoingly, because if you just let it sit stagnant, it has a tendency to go backwards.
Correct.
So as you create new things to promote, and new things that make people excited to come into the office, new technology that's available, new ways of creating something unique for your customers, I think that is in itself
Very good.
something that creates success. Yeah.
Very important. What do you have to say?
Well, I think to add to that is listening, to understand what people are looking for, and to hear what they're looking for, and to actually be able to change your services in a direction that serves your clients better.
All right, guys, we're going to our new favorite segment called I Don't Like That Man. All right, guys, we're going to find out from Dave and Bill what gets on their last nerve. You go first.
Okay. So what I don't like is idiot drivers on the highway that are doing 95 miles an hour and in a traffic jam, right? Yes. And also what I hate is people that are bigoted, that's something that just irks me. And I always have to say something to people that have that focus in life. It's strange. And another thing that I hate is, and one more thing, Another thing that I hate is, as much as the artists that come in here are really trying to make our job easier for us, a lot of times they'll come in with files that they've shot with their iPhone, and then they want us to make a print that looks identical to the painting.
Yes.
And I hate that, man.
We hate that, man. That was awesome.
Well, you can tell from Dave's answer, it's a really tough question. Almost as tough as, what do you like, Mom?
Yes.
I mean, there's a whole litany of things from
You could go on forever.
snow blizzards in April to intolerance. But I think the one thing I'll focus on is human cruelty to animals. Really upsets me. I don't know where we get off with that whole concept. So that pisses me off.
Really?
Or that makes me mad, man.
Yes. That bleeps me. Yes, and you do have a silent partner here. Your dog, right? He's always here.
Yes, and I didn't say it just for him, although he was urging me to mention it. Wilson.
Yes.
My yellow Labrador, yes.
Aww. Yes, I totally agree with everything you said. All right, guys, now we're going to our next segment called Say What? All right, guys, so here we are in the Say What segment, and this is a segment when our masters get to talk a little bit more about what they do. And today we're going to talk about how to reproduce fine art. You said get or create the art yourself.
Yeah, so when artists come in here, one of the things that is paramount is that it's original artwork that the artist has done, or it's artwork that they've gotten permission to reproduce.
Why?
Because there's copyright issues with that. Because if I'm painting a painting and somebody else buys the painting and then starts reproducing that without my permission, then that's a problem. It's illegal, is right. So we're very cognizant of that here, and we make sure that we're reliably taking care of our customers' work.
Yes. Awesome. And you say next step is that you photograph on high-tech equipment.
That's correct. In the case of reproducing a painting, the artwork needs to be digitized and brought into the computer in order to be printed. So the best way to capture it is with a very high-resolution camera with proper lighting, copy lighting, to eliminate any glare or reflections, and to get the color correct. So that's the first and critical step.
And then you said the next step is to choose the media, whether it's canvas or whatever.
Well, and then when we do the after we do the digital capture, then we bring it over to a workstation that we color correct it, and then we bring the artist in so that they can take a look at the proof compared to the original painting, and then we work with the artist so that it's as close to the original as they would like. And that's a very important step here.
Why?
Because it's creating the accuracy for the artists, so that they can feel confident that they're reproducing a very accurate version of what their painting looks like. Yes.
And then, well, we just talked about proofing. You want to talk about that some more, going it over with a client?
Sure. After we're happy with the way it looks on the media that the artist has chosen, canvas or fine art paper, for instance, we bring the client in. They will either be thrilled immediately, or they'll ask for a couple of tweaks. Make these reds a little yellower, or darken this area, or open up this area. Once that is all done, then we lock down that file, and we're ready to reproduce it on demand.
And then the last section you said, and very important, is to get it framed.
And the framing is one of the more critical steps in being able to sell your art, because a nice piece of art in itself is great, but once you put it in a gorgeous frame, then it suddenly becomes something that can be decor.
Correct.
And that makes it more attractive for clients to want to purchase from them.
All right, guys, so now guess what? We're going to see it for real. Dave and Bill are going to take us and walk us through taking a piece of art and digitizing or reproducing it. See you soon. All right, guys, here we are in the studio with Dave and Josh. We're looking at one of Dave's original pieces called Contemplation, and we're going to walk it through from its original oil paint, original work, and we're going to walk it through the entire process.
So this is really the first time that we take any original artwork and get it into the computer system. So typically we'll just put this on the copyboard. We can put art up to 48 inches on this particular copyboard. We can do larger pieces if we need to, but we have to do that in a different room. And this is Josh Burkholder. He's our production manager, and he also does all the digital captures here at Visual Impact. So he'll tell you a little bit about the process. Yeah.
Okay, boss man.
So when the artwork comes in, I bring it in here and I put it on the copy stand here and I line it up to the camera up here, and it's got a high resolution digital scanning back. And we put a set of references here, which is a color bar and a grayscale, which is what the printer will use as a reference as well. We also do a lot of profiles for it.
Okay, so this is important so that you make sure that the color is matching.
Yeah, they can pull these out when they're printing and reference it as they're printing.
Okay.
You know, so but it's we use some very hot lights as a matter of fact. We got 4,000 watt bulbs.
Wow.
Yeah, it gets pretty hot, so we're not going to turn it on to blow out the lights for your camera right now. So. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And what it does is it shoots and it brings it over to the hard drive over here behind us for the camera. And then we access it from the hard drive there and put it onto the computer, onto the network. And then Patricia is the next step.
All right.
Which is, and then she'll take her and do her magic, the digital goddess that she is.
Digital goddess. All right, next station. All right, Bill, so where are we?
Well, now we're in the digital printing department. As Josh indicated, that's the next step. And we are in the territory of Patricia Bulgasano, our digital goddess.
Okay. All right. Hi, Patricia, digital goddess.
Hello, Dee.
All right, so what are we doing? We have Dave's original.
We do have Dave's original, and I went ahead and got the file off of the computer in the camera room. And I look at the file, I look at it on my monitor, and I try to get it as close as possible to the original. Unfortunately, when it comes out of the camera, it's not on, and we do have to do some work to it to make it look like the original. So after we run some tests and we're satisfied with it, we have the client come in and look at it. And once the client is satisfied with it, then we save that file. And we always have that file to go back to. We also keep all the tests that I did, the final test here, for reference. So I always have something to reference, and we can always make another print exactly like the last one we made. So consistency is really important. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a very, very important step to make sure that what the artist created in the original art piece looks like what they expect to get in the reprints, correct?
Absolutely. Yes. And consistency. 6 months from now, it's got to look exactly the same. Yeah. So.
Got it. I see why you have your title, Digital Goddess.
Yes.
All right.
Exactly.
Okay, so now we're going to look at what it looks like when it comes out of the printer. All right, Patricia, so what are we looking at here?
Right here we have a final canvas that we printed, and this artist chose to have this printed on canvas. We can print on watercolor paper and other substrates, but this is printed on canvas. And from here, we would take it off the machine and bring it into the coating room, and we would put a coat of protectant on here. And then they can either have it mounted onto a board like Gator board or foam core, or we can stretch this across stretcher bars, and then it can go for framing.
Awesome. All right, so our next stop is framing. All right, Dave, where are we?
Well, now we're in our framing department, and this is where the artists get an opportunity to choose the frame molding that they'd like to for their particular piece of art. And as you can see here, we have quite an array of different frames. We have the entire Larson Jewel line, the Roma line, and the Omega line. Those are our primary vendors here. So what the artist would do is they would choose what type of frame they want. Say they wanted to choose a gold frame, then you would possibly put a different color mat with it. We have a whole different array of different mats that are available as well. So if you wanted to choose different colored mats, we have those available as well. In the instance of stretched artwork, sometimes we recommend floater frames, which the artwork will just sit right on the stretched canvas. There'll be no glass on it at all, so it's a nice finished feel for it. It gives the impression of an original painting.
Beautiful.
And we have some textured different frames. So again, a full array.
Really beautiful. We could just stay here all day trying to choose what we want. All right, guys. So the next section that we're going to go to is stretching and framing, right?
Correct.
All right. All right, Dave, where are we?
Well, now we're in our finishing and framing room, and introduce you to Phil Chu. He's our finishing technician, and he'll tell you a little bit about what he's going to be doing in finalizing this print.
All right, Phil, tell us what you're doing.
Well, this piece is already stretched and finished, and it is in the frame that the customer chose, and screw her in place. Go.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful work. Thank you so much, Dave, for having us.
You're quite welcome.
We're missing his partner who had to leave early, but it's been an absolute pleasure being here.
It's our pleasure, and we had a lot of fun, and we hope that it makes a difference for your viewers.
Yes, it was really good. We learned about converting an original piece of art, reproducing it, how we do it, and it's just been an absolute pleasure being here. See you next time. You know where to find us on Facebook, Hanging Out with Dee. See you next time. Bye.